it's really damp and cold in London, and I'm feeling so much discomfort from these sensations of cold and wetness. Not good wetness. Kind of goes into your bones. So I'm rubbing my hands and trying to welcome a little bit of heat back into my body. And I'm feeling the tightness in my sternum. I don't like cold, so it, like, my brain reads it as a threat. Like, it stresses me out. And I don't mind actually cold if there is sunshine. Like if I'm in the mountain skiing and there is sunshine and there's this dry, crisp cold, I'm really fine with that. But when it's damp and cold, my body a little bit shrivels, and it makes me go into a stress response. So I don't really like that. It contracts my spine. So if I raise my shoulders up to my ears, I know you've been told not to do that. It's not gonna kill you. You can do that. Try it. You're allowed to do whatever you want in your body. There's so many do's and don'ts out there. So when I raise my arm, breathe out, lengthening, reconnecting with the parasympathetic. When I lengthen my body through my shoulder, I'm lengthening the spine on a gross level. Like I'm lengthening the body on a gross level, on something that I can see. I can see my shoulder moving. If I wanted to really lengthen deep inside the intervertebral space, which is what we're concerned with in Scaravelli Yoga, I need to have a lot more sensitivity and ability to go deep inside. So it's okay to start with the gross level. Move the shoulders. Move the neck. Moving the neck, what it does is this muscle here that grips the back of your spine. Okay, 1 second. Let me see if I can turn off this. So, yeah, if you switch this muscle here that grips the back of your skull into your clavicular, there's so many lymphatic nodes. This is like highway, like a major crossroad of lymphatic activity. So when this gets really tight, it can actually make you have brain fog and anxiety. So the neck, releasing the neck, is one of the most important things you can do for your well-being at the level of detoxing the body, at the level of clearing your head and improving cognition. So, thank you, son, for coming out. I am like actually a little bit supported here. You can see that there is support for my heels on this little curb. Why is this important? Because if I wasn't, so you could put like a yoga block or anything to support the heels. Once the heels are supported, they can release and ground and let go, so your lower back can start releasing. Because if I am flat on the floor with my whole foot, it might, if you have tightness in your calves or in your Achilles, it might be too strong. It might be uncomfortable. So putting something underneath your heels is totally legit. shaking up the fascia, getting the fluids going a little bit, which might have cramped up from the cold for me. If you're used to cold, it might not affect you, but I don't like it. So I'm kneading the back of my hands. I'm waking up the back of my hands like a cat. I'm allowing for my spine to be in flexion here. So I'm in flexion. This is extension and this is flexion. Being in flexion, I want to try to drive it to let go of my abdominal muscles for them to come back to the spine, because I don't want the flexion to happen only in the thoracic. I want it to go deep all the way from my neck up here. Neck also releases. The front of the throat has to release to go into flexion. The sternum has to release. Here the upper lower ribs need to release a little bit. They don't need to grip. I understand that it's actually contracting the fibers of the belly, but can we do it with relaxation and not making, forcing, because that goes into a stress response and I want to awaken the relaxation response. And then most importantly, the more I release the belly, the more the lower back can relax. So I want a small curve from head to tail. I'm shaking my ass because I want to shake my tail. I want to release the tail, which is really quite, it's subtle, but really important for your neck. The craniosacral connections go through the spine. All the fluid there has to release. So when I'm waking up the hands, I'm releasing hydration from the hands towards the spine, towards the thoracic. And shaking, basically what I'm doing is I'm shaking the fluid in my body, but the fluid is where the neuroreceptors are. So if the fluid is tight and stiffened and dehydrated, then the neuroreceptors cannot speak to my central nervous system. So when I start walking, I'm recruiting a lot more muscles than needed. So I end up using more of my energy. So my cells have less to be happy. They have less food, less oxygen. They're producing more metabolic waste. So really awakening the relaxation response is all about the chemicals in your body, about the detoxing of the body, about the optimal use of food in your body, so that you have energy to use for creative purposes and not to be eaten up by a stress response, which puts you into a fight or flight mode. When you're in a stress response, your muscles start eating up more food, more oxygen, producing more metabolic waste, because when you're stressed, you're preparing to fight or flight. If you're perpetually stressed, you might go into a freeze response, which is where you give up and you're just like dead. Like you might go into clinical depression, you might feel stuck, like these sensations of stuckness. Your body is constantly cramped because you cannot deal with, you cannot even run or fight. None of these are great. So the grass right now is really wet. So when I step on the grass, it's taking me a bit of time. I work with sensation, with the nervous system. So I have to be able to welcome that. Maybe I don't like it so much. For me right now it's okay because I am craving the ground. But sense with yourself, do you like touching the wet grass or not? And if you don't, then don't do it. Stay with your shoes. So this is just a little wake up morning. after, oh, so what I'm doing is I'm giving a bit of sensation to my hips. I'm shifting weight through space. When we move our body, what we're doing basically is we're moving in space to get what we need. We need food, we need love, we need attention. So we could stay in one place if we were a tree, and it's good to practice awareness, meditation, standing in one place. You're never immobile because you're breathing. You're welcoming the breath, and always see if you could welcome the breath with relaxation. Can I relax and welcome the breath? Not switch on all my muscles to take a breath. Not switch on all the thoracic and clavicular muscles to take a breath in. That introduces tension in the body. Can I relax the body and the breath flows in? And then as I exhale, can I rest into my heels? Feel the ground and exhale. Not doing, just feel the ground, feel the breath exiting. So you can do that for a few minutes. There's no rush. Switching from a stress response to a relaxation response takes time. So you could just stand here feeling the sensation of the grass on your feet, letting that reset the brain stimulation from whatever it's stimulated by, the stress that you're experiencing at the moment, paying bills, dealing with relationships, worrying about your to-do list. Just feel the ground and let that sensation stimulate the brain in a different part. We're sentient beings, so we work with sensations. The environment is sensitizing me. I'm perceiving the sensation. So I could offer it a new sensation. I don't have to stay stuck with the perception of stress. And obviously, I'm a movement specialist, so I work with sensations that are created through movement with awareness. So when I rub my hands on this stick, I'm feeling some warmth. I'm stimulating the skin, the blood circulation in my hands, and I'm starting to feel some warmth. I'm also contracting and lengthening muscles around my elbow into my clavicular. Here I'm stimulating neuroreceptors that have to do with motion. So breathing, rubbing, these are all different sensations I'm feeding my body. You can see here in the back, what I'm doing is I'm loading the toes, and I'm really focused on this camera, but actually that's not what you want. You don't actually have to look at me. You could look at what's around, and there is a beautiful garden that I'm in. There is some sunshine coming my way. There is some drops on the, you can't see them, but there's drops on the little laundry, I don't know what you call it, the place where you put your laundry. So there's like little drops. These are all beautiful images that can stimulate my nervous system differently and offer new sensations to my brain. When I move from the back foot to the front foot, there is pressure points in your feet that are getting loaded and released. So that's like stimulating sensation up to the brain by loading the neuroreceptors in my foot and loading the right side of my body, the left side of my body. And you can move on the other side. One of my sides is more loaded because I have the weight of the stick. So you can sense in, oh, can I sense one side more loaded than the other? When we wear a handbag, we are loading asymmetrically. And if we always do that, we might introduce tension on one side. And the first step to start to rebalance is to notice. So put the stick in the other hand and sense, how does it feel to have more weight on one side? Is my shoulder working harder on the side with the stick? What I'm trying to communicate in this short session is that when we do movement practice, what we're doing is we're feeding sensation to the body. So when we work with awareness, we're stimulating sensations that reset our mind and our nervous system. So I work with two paradigms mainly. I'm a somatic mover, so I've done the whole training and practice with brilliant somatic movers, so I'm very sensitive towards where my awareness moves. But the structure, the form of my practice is Scaravelli Yoga and the Melt Method. So I create shapes and movements that stimulate my brain through choreographies that aim to lengthen my spine, ground through the feet, and improve the breath, because all of these do regulate the stress response, and I want that. I want to deregulate the stress response.